After Kitty Finer's artist talk and moving temporarily into my childhood bedroom, I realized my view of the post-human formed during my childhood from transitional objects or companions and media. I could recycle these objects and drawings in my modern practice. This is scopophilia. There is an importance of tangible, commodity fetishes in my practice. I linked my ruminations on domestic cybernetics and reliance on technology during the pandemic to the unassimilated state of a child's brain. We become the assimilated cyborg from our symbiotic relationship with technology, but as children, we wished to befriend the cyborg. We must be realistic about the cyborg and how our symbiotic relationship with technology after COVID-19 make us cyborg. Curator Mark Leckey referred to Felix the cat as his avatar, talisman and totem, which promoted critical thoughts around how we connect to objects. Leckey's connection seems spiritual but also a replacement of himself in the digital realm. From Vitamin 3P and Terps Banana, Greenbaum, Olson and Allen inspired the playful primary color palette, while Ringantz, Flood, Murillo and Danaki inspired the use of chromatic grays, transparent color and limiting color palette experimentation. Halley, Hess, and Crosby inspired texture and multimedia to increase fragmentation and post-internet tactility, with bodily presence. I use rectangles to increase fragmentation and identification with the Internet, to convey overflowing information, inspired by Rauschenberg, Henroth, Hempton and Coupland. Nam June Paik and Electronic Superhighway are vital inspirations as I was able to consider the relevance and function of my work in current technocentric art practices. Paik inspired my playful and humanizing approach to technology and transforming technology into childhood objects. The film is developed from subconscious writing, along with my live projects by Ad Press Writing, delving into digital trauma from viewing traumatic content and trauma compounding into an internal void, inspired formally and content by Shani, Huxtable, Henroth and Almeria.
I want to dream of the stars, the sky, the spaceships, the companions, robots and monsters. I dream of them now and again, but I think I am them now. The robot I am. In the night, the monster I am inside. I'm united and separated, all at one. Communication, media, newspapers, work, entertainment, social media, stress relievers, judge and execution. The future isn't real. So when is the full end? Come between you and now. We'll get switched off. We'll become the dinosaurs. We are the dinosaurs. We're not superior. They could kill us instantly. Some wouldn't give it a second thought. The top dog got wiped out, so why do you think we can defeat the end that is coming? We won't see the pink suit until 2103. I won't be able to see how the blood and the fabric has aged or not. I'll be 102. We don't deserve to see. She made her point. He kills her. They they killed him, we all fall down. I saw his head on the cold table. Why were those released from the sea? Even his blood-soaked, rip-drenched shirts. But they protected our suits. Some entertain even in death with blood and body and bones. Who's him too? Did he stop being human? When do I stop being human? Human life becomes humanized facts for all that women and think about dissected by you and me and some doctor. But now I see his voice and bones in every scalp that walks by. We slow it down, you can see his scalp flying. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? I'm so wounded. The Challenger explosion looks like a lobster. Look at this, the man killed himself live on his Netflix all to see. Watch it, watch it, watch it all. Know every detail, every story, everything. See what one and you can see your heart. Be positive, be aware, wake up, but sleep. Stay in, but stay out. I'm a mouse between two tigers. Engineers, claws which were cinched from the scabbards, pointed towards me, their teeth now and eyes squinted on me every time I stand next. I don't know who I am, I'm the void at the end of time. I stopped being human at the end of it all, I have that power. I don't know how to stay. Here, with you, or anywhere. I don't owe you anything, I should be free and open. I see where life takes me, that terrifies me. I want stability, but I'll be trapped. I have to see where life takes me, but that's not how I want it to be, so exist, wait for the tides to take me, polish me, break me, swallow me, spit me until I sink. One day I'll wash up on the shores of Cornwall and I'll be picked up again. I'll put in a pocket. Am I an interesting stone or a tumbled piece of glass? Can't tap, break me open and discover my treasures. Or get blinded by my shards and I implode. I become a stardust, floating aimlessly, but somehow I am home. I'm in the company of Cosmos.
We are cyborgs, operating on a circular axis. I think we're beyond taxis. I'm just going through the daily motions. That's an assimilated notion. Rinse and repeat. Lost in the duality, I can't compete. I want to lose control. I don't. But I do. Yes, I want the beats to be totally random. No pattern. Proclaimed my childhood self. Having to justify my choices. To the assimilated adults. As I labored over plastic bracelets. I was free like the wind. My mother's walls. Decorated in my felt tip. My father flipped out. Over walls that will be fields and shadows. Which once was a house and home. He took it down another way. My nail polish is still installed on the television cabinet. My felt tip persevered beyond constriction. And outlived his existence in my zone. You are free like me. But you're not. When was the last time you began to tweet? And immediately deleted? Or put your hands on your lap, smiled and nodded? You can't wear ripped jeans, do you need new ones? You should wear a dress more often. Have you ever felt like you're suffocating? Or drowning without water? A mouse cornered by a cat. With not hole or crack. To shimmy your way out of this new predicament. I always wondered. If I'm brainwashed. If my own thoughts are my own. Do they allow me to question? To avoid suspicion, or am I defecting? I don't know what I would do. Beyond this life. I escape to the worlds in my head. But that's because I'm bored. I'm an android walking in the halls of my ship as I walk to the kitchen. But if I were a robot, I would be able to focus. Think straight and turn off that looping program. Where I check my phone every minute. But I'm not an android. I'm a cyborg, my mind has been hooked into the mainframe since 13. Keen to unplug. I can't just leave my brain behind. I'm infused. A hybrid of the new age.
In symbiosis accumulates imagery, memories, and childhood objects into a cohesive visual narrative. I paired the piece with physical objects from childhood, but I realized the canvas is stronger without as there is a materiality to the painted objects.
Should it be known? When we had sex after the horror movie, I wasn't sure when the bodies started and where I ended. In this flesh prison, it felt one in the same.
Inspired by Nam June Paik's personified painted technology, this piece transforms a router into a common childhood label, childhood best friend, inspired by the stone doll of Sister Brute. Digital trauma site and flesh prison respond to post-human and my poem bodies, transforming sites of digital and physical trauma into flesh in a different approach to personify the site and return embodiment to the post-human. I used a projector sparingly for unfixable youths, which carefully used color and borders for alienation successfully, but using a projector for a whole painting created a piece I could not resolve in time. The lino pieces are my post-human avatar or totem. I chose a childhood drawing and a monkey head toy, both used in symbiosis, as I identify with the childhood freedom they represent in my current assimilated state. The drawings, collage and paintings develop from symbiosis with exploring post-human childhood objects and assimilation of growing up with symbiotic objects, while exploring color to find a suitable color palette. By the final piece, I chose a primary color palette as it coheres with child art and the digital.